This video, I'm going to be breaking down the Buccaneers offensive playbook at Madden 25 and some cool things that you can do out of it. They do have some really cool under center formations, wing tight nasty, wing tight flat with wide zone, duo. So pretty standard kind of single back sets that are good for red zone situations. The wing close is actually one of the cooler formations in the game, in my opinion. Wing stack from here is decent. They do have a bunch X nasty under center, so if you ever wanted to mix that in with what we're going to do from shotgun. And then they do have a tight flex. So what's cool about the tight flex, you got a jet sweep, you can do a 0-1 trap, you can do under curl, and then you can do wide zone. So kind of a little mini scheme out of that. And then bunch X nasty. What I would recommend is I really like the wide zone out of here. You could then go with any kind of passes that you want to utilize. Any of the routes you want. PA boot slide to me is probably the best play in the formation. So anyway, and then they do have pistol. Actually have some cool pistol stuff. So they have pistol trips where you can do a basically strong power. You can do counter run, which is a really good run this game. And then if you wanted to do like a bubble screen, you could do that. And then they also have a pistol bunch X nasty, which is kind of cool. Really just some basic plays: smash, return, corner, dig, slant spacing. I'd probably put the counter run in here. This counter is just a really good run play from pistol. So anyway, without further ado, I want to get into their shotgun stuff because they have some really cool stuff in their shotgun formation. Motion cross halfback sneak out of tight doubles is kind of a cool little play. It has a short post built into it. Flood has a short corner, which you don't see very much. And then you could also, kind of do whatever you want. Motion fake cross is kind of a good play too. So you could just kind of get some things accomplished here. If you want a short corner on both sides of the formation, then you could put in a play like Z spot, gives you a short post, short corner. And then here, I don't think PA wide receiver cross is as good as it's been in previous years. So that's where I would, get something else accomplished, whether it be using the play curl or another play that I think is just a staple and tight, really good play is cross wheels. It's basically wide receiver cross. So anyways, and then they do have normal live close. They don't have the best normal live close, but they have a good one. And so what I like to do here is put in the play PA snag. I feel like it just has some staple plays. So you have PA snag, you have Y sail, you have mesh spot. I actually really like mesh spot because you get that fade on the left side that I think is really valuable. And then you can have motion angle wheel with the speed out on the slot. If you wanted to put RPO alert out in here, you could kind of, these two plays are really up for debate as far as what you want to do here, but this is what I like to do. I don't really ever run from this formation. So anyway, and then they also have this tight Y off. What's cool about this tight Y off is you have PH sheet will post. I have some other videos on that, but you have a nice little post route here. And then you can also kind of put some cheat plays off of this if you wanted to. I don't think you necessarily need to. I think this is really the only play that you really need. But what I would say is if you wanted to put like the cheat outside zone, go for it. The other plays that I wanted to showcase, though, is you have flood with that deep skinny post. And then you do have a return route in pivot return that you can utilize. And then you also have, I think that's actually the tackle trap is also a cool run. So anyway, just wanted to highlight just a couple things out of these formations. They do have this playbook as a whole just has some cool stuff. So like they actually have a really cool Y off trips because they have the RPO flat, RPO read flat, which is really, really good. Let me actually get that in the audibles here. So they have this RPO read flat, which is kind of similar to the Y off trips nasty. It's just the only difference is the receiver is further outside on the left. And then you also have some decent motion plays. You have motion PA smash with kind of a unique pivot route that I think is kind of cool. If you wanted to utilize, I personally really like this motion stick play and motion stick and nod. I think these two plays are really good. I'm really liking like the stick flats and stuff like that. If you want to use motion curl, you could do that. But really anything else as far as here, whatever you want to put in that slot, that last slot. Y off trips weak. This is basically like a trip, almost like a U trips, but again, the guy is more spread out. This wouldn't be a formation that I would necessarily call a ton, but you do have a short post to the slot receiver and fade stops. You also have a short post, kind of a nice little solo post on this play here, 22ZN. One of my favorite concepts, though, is 100% this stick play. I think stick is like really good in this game, and I really like tackle traps as far as like a run play. So anyway, the main formation that you're going to be utilizing is bunch strong nasty, bunch wide flex. I'll come back to those in a minute. You do have double stack, spread wide slot. This spread wide slot is okay. There's some cool routes in here. One of the plays, I don't know if I have it here, but there's a short post route that's actually in this. So anyway, and then you do have a trips X nasty, which is kind of a unique formation. So anyways, bunch wide flex. The audibles that I want to go over for this one is these motion plays are kind of cool. So motion dagger sit, motion drive zig. These are two kind of unique plays. Motion inside post. These are all kind of cool. But you do have your kind of standard like smash return is a really good play to always have. I really like, motion drive zig because you got that return right on the right. You got a zig here. You have vertical speed dig. So you can kind of like do what you want with this offense. But in general, motion inside post probably the play that I ultimately land on there. But then bunch strong nasty, this is the main formation. You do have a double pass in here. So what I like to do with this offense is typically, I feel like the double pass is like a gotcha play. You're only going to call it a couple times a game, but you're expecting to get a touchdown out of it. So what I like to do here is fairly basic audibles so that I can pass with some of my base plays, like mesh flat spot to me is a good play. Wide trail is still a good play. PA bunch shot is still a good play. But one of my favorite plays is this motion halfback seam. I really like this play a lot. I like the little seam streak to the running back on this. And then you also have kind of these other plays that are kind of cool. Let me see if I can find the short corner. Motion smash angle is cool because you have a short corner on both sides and a Texas route. And then I probably put dagger in here just because dagger is like such a versatile play. There's a lot of ways to run it. Inside zone, you could just use the basic inside zone. You could use this RPO read bubble. I like to audible to this RPO read bubble. I don't like to come out in it because there's an obvious tell to it. All right, with that being said, I want to go over the double pass first. So the thing with the double pass is in practice mode, you can't do any hot routes. But in a game, when you come out of this, because you have most quarterbacks in this at this point have master tactician, you can do 2 hot routes before you get to the line of scrimmage. So you come out, you instantly do 2 hot routes. So for example, if you wanted to like streak the slot, corner the tight end, you could do that really quickly. But in general, the core idea here is when you run this double pass, all of the zones are going to blitz if they don't pass commit, and that throw is open. Now, you do need a receiver that has like a passing. To me, you kind of need a receiver that can pass, which at this point in the game, you can get that pretty easily. But if you hit this against zone, like it's unreal. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I don't really like the fact that this is so good against zone, to be honest. But this is a good pass against zone. What you can do is get some of the out of position cards where there's quarterbacks at wide receiver at this point in the year, and you could use them with that. That time I finally got an accurate, and you see there, like, you see how the zones just basically blitz, right? So if they are in man coverage, what'll happen, which I feel like is worth discussing, is if they're in man coverage, one of the underrated things you can do, so you see how they don't blitz, but then you can just throw your drag right there to the right. So if it's man coverage, it's not going to really work very well. And then if they pass commit out of zone. So if you want to stop this offense, like you could just pass commit out of zone. You see they don't blitz, and now you have to kind of make a throw with a wide receiver, which isn't ideal. So anyway, I don't run this a lot. This is a gotcha play. I run it like once a game. Okay, once, twice a game, just in case. But there are some cool things otherwise about this formation that you can kind of use off of that. So as I said, one of the main things that people are going to do is they're going to pass commit to stop your double pass. Well, this little read bubble play can be a nice little counter to that. So like if I'm pass committing out of a zone, then I have the double pass bagged up. And you can like scramble, like an underrated thing is just scrambling like that, which would drive people nuts. Or if they're pass committing a lot, then this is where your run game becomes a lot better, right? So we can just run the ball, right? And the thing about this bubble screen is it is a RPO. So I'm reading the defender, right? He crashes, I'm going to keep it with the quarterback. So you have that. You have just kind of a basic little run that I think is decent. Or you could just use the basic inside zone. I think you get a little better blocking on that. But anyway, motion smash, angle. So what's cool about this out route that's going to motion across is you can stem it all the way up and it turns it into a streak. And so one of my favorite things to do is basically double streaks, and then I have this high-low with the corner, and I'll drag the tight end. So it looks like this. And what you'll see here is, watch this motion. He's going to kind of stutter, and then he just speed streak up the middle, and then you have this little corner route. Really what I'm looking for out of this offense in general, this is another thing I like. Motion HBC, this is right off, looks very similar to the double pass. So what I like to do with this play is basically run it kind of like dagger. So we'll just do a deep cross, a seam streak, and then we'll let this like kind of motion route be the double pass. So it looks exactly the same as double pass, but then now he's going to go to the flat. Running back goes up into the seam area of the field, and then you have that crosser over the middle that I really like to be able to hit against those shade down yellow zones and things like that. So this is another one, and I kind of build a lot off of this motion halfback seam because it looks like the double pass. So another route combo that I think is pretty good is just a simple corner route, post route, and then a running back streak and a backside drag. So it looks kind of like this. What I would do with this right side is stem the corner down, and if they're in like let's say they're in like a cover 2 soft squat, which is pretty popular, what'll happen is this flat will pull this cover 2 to the right, and you'll be able to throw this kind of to the sideline in that area of the field. So again, these are just like little tweaks that I like to do off of the double pass because the double pass is such a threat. So another really cool little basic tweak. Again, I really like this setup a lot. Like if you think about this play, this running back, you can just re-streak him if you don't like the seam streak. But I really like how fast that running back streak runs. And then I love that I have a high-low on the back end of the play. So there's that one. And then the other one that I just showed you, you can get to it a couple different ways. But the basic idea here is we're going to run motion seam, and we're going to utilize a stem down corner, either a seam streak or a post and a backside drag. And then watch this running back kind of get up into the... Watch how fast he gets up there. See how he gets up there quick? He can actually pull all the deep blues, and then now your corner route is a legitimate threat over there on that right side. So those are a couple of like real simple plays that I really like to take advantage of that. Another thing I didn't really show you with this motion halfback seam is this tight end drag. So another thing that you could do is a route combo like this. I think this is actually a pretty good play because you're attacking the seams. You're attacking the seams pretty heavily, but you still have that flat as like a pull. And then on the left side, what I'll do with the solo receiver is I'll put him on a corner route just like this. And basically what'll happen is if they run like a cover 4, cover 3, and they're not hard flatting, your tight end is going to be wide open on the left side, as you see right there. So then if they do hard flat, one of the things that's kind of neat about this play is because you're not stemming this corner, you're leaving it kind of at its default depth, if you will. Then what you're able to get here is he jumps down. You can actually throw this down and left, and a lot of times catch that against any kind of quarter or outside third. So then if they run cover 2, which ultimately both of these, basically they're going to have to run a lot of cover 2 on you, then you have this little kind of glitchy streak or fade. And so this is a route that you can sometimes hit this. You can sometimes hit this against cover 2. It's a little bit of an interesting throw. It'd be a little better if we had somebody over there that we could use as like a pull. But basically, like motion seam, if we go back to this, even doing something like this, kind of a shot play against cover 2 to a degree. But what you'll see here is as soon as that safety kind of turns inside, you see how he'll just kind of get to that sideline. It's a hard throw. It's a hard throw for them to consistently guard. Another thing that happens a lot in this game, like another common adjustment that I see a lot of people making, is they'll quarter these safeties. And if you think about like double safety go, they'll even have these guys a little bit more inside, potentially even more in the box. And so they're going to use those cloud flats on the outside to stop your corner routes, right? But then that's where we're going to give them this setup. And if you watch this kind of fade route on the left, again, everything looks the same, but now the inside quarter never plays that. So the only real great zone for that is honestly an outside third. But then there's some weaknesses to that because we have dagger, right? And so with dagger, what we can do is we can just run old school dagger, which I really like. And we have the seam streak that we can hit. We have that tight end delay route. We have the crosser. Like it's just a quick hike play. Another quick hike version of dagger is to just post the tight end like this. And this is another way in which if they're running a lot of cover too, I think this is a pretty good way to manipulate it because you'll see that that tight end gets over across the field pretty easily on that as well. Another thing that I really like is if we're looking at these short corners, another way that in which we can kind of, I guess, get some good, to a degree, just some good spacing is this motion smash play. We can run a streak to the tight end, or we could run a streak to the outside player and just run a basic flood play. What I would probably do is something like this. And so what you'll see is this short corner is a really good man beating route, and it's a really good like kind of cover too. It really could beat every zone. The thing about man coverage in this game is you just need like a combination of a couple routes to win. So like this, a lot of the setups we just showed you are really good against mans, like this one. If they don't have safety help on the left side and they're trying to press you, a lot of times he'll just outrun him. He totally didn't right there for some reason. But a lot of times that fade route is a really good route for like a press man situation. Let me see if I can actually get it to work here. And we also had, we'll have the crosser, we'll have the tight end as well. But I just wanted to see if I can get you the big play here. He's kind of playing it pretty good. And low key, I don't know why we got so bagged on that play. Man is just such an inconsistent coverage where sometimes it works and then other times it's just a touchdown. So, the main read that I like against man coverage is the drag, the tight end drag. If you're getting a lot of man coverage, what I want you to do is go to motion smash angle, and a couple different things you could do. Like one of the things that I really like is dragging the tight end. I love this motion, like stem streak, if you will. And all I'm doing is stemming that out right all the way up. And watch, he'll just kind of get unbumpable. It makes it super hard for them to play consistent man coverage. Both corner routes, you have those short corners on both sides. That can give this a lot of issues. Another way to give it issues, if you didn't want to, let's say you're watching this and you're like, I don't really like how that auto motion's running, then you can just run the play like this too. And you're going to now that corner on the left has a lot of like isolated space. And so you can kind of use or catch that. Another combo that I really like out of dagger is dragging the tight end, probably posting. You could just streak this guy and then wheeling the running back like a flat wheel. So I like this combination as well against man coverage because the running back will kind of run over the top. Peppers is 6'7", right? But generally speaking, the running back has a good chance to be able to outrun that guy. So I like setups like this a lot. The running back seam streak is okay. As you saw right there, it didn't quite outrun him like the wheel will. So just kind of keep that in mind. But if you wanted to run, this is why I really like having this motion halfback seam play because it looks exactly the same as double post or double pass. So you do a setup like this, it looks exactly the same, but now we have that running back wheel. And watch there, he got kind of a weird animation, but as you see, he can just outrun the man coverage. So it's a decent little play for man coverage situations. And if you think about like this formation as a whole, what you're really trying to do is utilize seam streaks. So another setup that I like out of like dagger is I would do it out of dagger. You don't have to do it out of dagger, but it's basically this right here. I like this setup a lot. This is just kind of a standard bunch combo this year at this point. But the short corner it's not a short corner, but it's a stem down corner. It does a really good job of attacking over on that right sideline and kind of forcing a cover two. I think personally, double pass is just really good against a cover two because if you think about it, the zones are all going to blitz. So the deep half is going to come down, right? If I make that throw, that's easy. So Anywho, the main thing is you've got to be able to manipulate cover two on the right side. I feel like if you're going to run bunch at a high level, you got to be able to kind of manipulate the cover two to the right. So I wanted to go over a couple of other plays here. This motion mesh trail, I'm going to take the run out so that I can put another pass in the audibles. Motion mesh trail, I think, is a pretty relevant play. PA bunch shot is kind of a good freestyle play. Mesh flat spot, kind of the same thing. Wide trail, it's okay, but I don't feel like you really need to call wide trail this year, just because of the way the game plays. I feel like you could just create it, so I'm not too worried about that. But I did want to show you this other motion play. So you have this motion angle play that kind of has this like unique post to the tight end. So this essentially is going to play kind of like double post, and then you can kind of define however you want to run it. So I like to set it up like this, and then I'll show you the post route, and then we'll talk about the left side. But watch this tight end. It's literally like it's a super sharp cut. So this tight end post can do a really good job of being able to attack man and zone. And then, based off what you want to do off of it. And again, it's the same motion as double post, or double pass, which is why I like it, because they think maybe you're doing that. But now you see against man coverage, the tight end kind of, it's okay, right? It's probably a better zone coverage post. But I will say, like, there's a lot of times against man coverage that I throw this. So let's see if we can actually get it. Yeah, I see there, get kind of cleared out. And it's literally, you see how sharp of a cut that is? I just think that's a really valuable route to have. And so how we could kind of build around it is what do we normally use a tight end post for? Well, we do basically this combination right here. And now this is a very similar to some of the other things we were doing. And then really whatever we want to do on the left side. I like honestly a zig. But in general, so see if it's man coverage, I got that zig, I got that tight end post as a touchdown, right? Against a lot of different types of ways people want to play man. And then I have the corner route on the right. So have some kind of good routes with that. But I really like this motion out flat. As far as like how this motion out flat does against the zone, you'll see that it's like super far back. So what'll happen is, like, let's say, like this happens a lot in this game. Like a lot of common coverages. So it would basically be to cloud this outside guy, right? You get this look a lot in bunch when you run a lot of bunch. So if you have a corner, whoops, I messed it up. If you have this corner, it'll pull this cloud back. And then what you can do is you could basically just like late throw this flat upfield. And a lot of times it can turn into some easy yardage. Now, what also, Matt, makes this, I think, really good, though, is this motion flat. Let's say they do a soft squat, or they, let's just say different adjustments. But in general, they're trying to play cover two to the bunch side, but they're trying to match corners and stuff. What happens is you do a combo like this, and I don't really care what the running back's on. Like, the running back can be on whatever you want. But what I like about this is this, watch this flat just pull that soft squat to him, and that just opens up a lot of space for that route. So that's one way that you can do it. Another thing that you can use this for is you could do kind of a setup like this, and then I'm not too worried about the left, but I just want to show you the whip route. So take a look here. The flat really pulls. See how that hard flat really pulls down like that, and then that's open. So I think that's another cool little feature, is that this little motion play, it pulls flats like super low. So that's where it opens up things for short corners as well. It's like if we have a short corner to the tight end, see how low that hard flat is? Like it creates a lot of space for you to be able to throw that tight end into that little area. This actually, to me, makes it viable to run double corner. If we truly wanted to run some double corner out of this book, you could totally run double corner out of this, because watch what happens to this tight end. You see how much space he has to be able to attack. So those are some different things that you could do that I think are pretty good. I really like this setup. And then I probably just do like a backside zig in case I guess wrong and it's man, and I have kind of a cool little route combo here, and I'll show you how we can use it. So let's say they just cover that right side pretty well. Now, you see how you can throw that kind of as a check down across the middle. So that is, another little aspect of this offense. As far as audibling around, I did want to just briefly showcase some audibles. So you see here's that Z in play. What I like with this is we could pretty easily do something like this. This is actually a really, really good combo because this flat and tight end drag. And of course, Baker. I think I might be done with, I don't know, it might be a passing setting thing. I really liked Baker for a while, and then he just started kind of really struggling for me. But fade stops. You see, you have a short post to the left, so you could do some things around that, like basically this, and then you can run like a little underneath mesh combo. But I really just like short posts a lot this year. So any play with a short post, I automatically want to run it. But I think one of the real valuable audibles, honestly, is going into a lot of like this. Like you go to this PH sheet post, you streak the left side guy here, drag the tight end, and honestly, you could just leave it like this. Or whoops, I totally messed it up. Drag the tight end, and now you get this. Because again, what do a lot of people do? They run cover two. Well, the cheat motions are really good against cover two. So you see here, I get this motion out. The running back flat's going to pull that soft squat. This cover two gets destroyed. So you want to just kind of like force them into cover four. And when you force them into cover four, I feel like everything's open in the game. Like everything becomes a lot more open. Another little sneaky thing about this play that I think is worth mentioning is if they do run a cover three, the tight end, you'll see, watch how vertical. See how it's a double post type route. It can bomb cover three. Cover three is just, it's in a weird spot because I feel like the outside thirds really struggled to, like they're not necessarily good, but they also like don't get bombed as much as they did before, but they just back up so much. So you'll see here, like that little window right there is kind of there for you if they want to run cover three on you. So you have that going for you as well. But I really like, if I'm playing a lot of cover two, like this setup out of dagger is really good against cover two. This motion seam, like don't be afraid to do this motion here. It's actually a really good motion for you. Do something like this, right? Something like that. I think the reason why I like, or even, heck, you want to do this? This is cool. Like this is cool. And the reason why this is good is because against cover two, you should have a one-play score on this left side. You see how open he is. And as long as we didn't get instant shedded. And again, I just personally think in this game, if you can consistently take the top off the defense against cover two, and it makes it a lot harder to play defense on you because then the underneath it's just really easy in this game to hit the underneath. You also do have a wheel route out of this, which is kind of a cool thing. I don't really ever need to use it, but something like this, or I probably go something like this. And the reason why is because if they run cover two, I want to make sure that I have a touchdown, as you see right here. And then let's say they don't go cover two, right? So let's say they go like cover four hard flat. This little motion here creates this 5 wide look, and you could even run two seam streaks. But what I think is really nice here is it really makes that tight end route a really nice route for you on the left side. It depends a little bit on how they actually like ultimately end up defending it. You have to also kind of account for the fact that most of the time people are going to be sending four at you. But what I think is worth mentioning here is you also have this kind of backside check down. So you have this little flat and zig, right? And then you have the tight end. So as I said, and I need to actually show it, but what most people are going to do is they're going to do this, where they're going to send some pressure. Like this would actually be a defense you'll see. And so they're going to be down here, right? So what we're able to do with this play is whip route this guy, flat this guy, drag this guy, and motion out. And then this guy was basically I'll just actually set it up. But essentially it's this, right? So where's the user going to go? He's going to have to go to the seam streak, right? So what that does is it makes that throw extremely wide open on the right side. And then again, I think kind of important, let's optimize this a little bit even more so. So the user's over here. He's going to go to the seam streak. So what that's going to do, let's say they are playing a cover 2 on the right. Try to showcase this guy. I actually need to just stay on this user. I just said, all right. I'm just going to click off of him, but just imagine like this is the user over here, right? So typically he's going to go to the seam streak. So another little thing that you can do, and I actually think an in route might be a little better for this because it's going to time it's going to time a little better with everything. But he goes back to the seam streak, and now my tight end drag is coming underneath wide open. So I have some nice little variations off of everything that we're doing as well. We didn't touch on this motion trail play, but I do like this play a lot. As you see, it brings this guy in motion, and he's going to basically be on a trail route. I want to show it against man first. So what I like to do off of this play is really essentially a tight end, like something like this, basically. Essentially, right? Something like this. A couple different ways to get to it, but basically the idea here is we have a cover 3, cover 4 beater in that short post. Look how fast that trail. You see what that actually does. It's kind of like a fast route, so you have to, to me, you have to be a little bit aware of it. Like I think an even other thing that you could do off of it is a little whip route. But what I like is something like this. I think this actually spaces out well. And then you have the short corner, you have the whip. So you have 2 man beaters on that left side. One of those 2 is going to get open. And then you have that kind of trail crossing type route. Just something little, but I like that it brings him back across the middle of the field. That's the main reason why you would run it, is because you're going to bring him back across the middle of the field. And then from there you could flat. I mean, whatever you want to do on this left side, it's up to you. But what I like is, if you think about it, it brings the user to the left. So the user has to kind of come over here to the left side, take the trail route, then go back to the corner. And you see if they like vacate that, it's a nice little, it's just kind of, again, a nice little quick route over the middle of the field that I think gets into a nice area. I'm a huge, huge fan like of something like this. Or like this, depending on what they're doing. But this little like Texas concept, basically, really, really good. But in general, pretty basic passing setups out of this bunch nasty. When you do go to bunch flex, the biggest thing here is just, you just have some standard bunch combos, like nothing too crazy. I did want to quickly touch on this motion inside post play because it's kind of frustrating to me. But this motion, not all motion plays are created equal. You're gonna see here, he like stops, sets up, like thinks about things, and then runs his route. I don't personally love that, right? But there are some instances where I think it's good, and specifically the instance is cover 2. So if they do run cover 2 on you, and I just think it's important to have cover 2 beaters, man, I really do. I do something like this. And what'll happen is this seam streak will pull the deep half to the middle. And then this tight end route, you see how he's going to get into kind of a nice spot against cover 2. So that's the main reason why I ultimately use that play, is really just to attack cover 2. And then some other plays that I think are kind of fun, would be something like this. Or you could do it like this. Like this is a pretty cool setup. You have a little high-low over the middle of the field. Oftentimes you're going to throw the drag, but, in general, if the user cuts the drag, then you're going to be able to throw right over the top of him. So these are just some of my favorite little plays within the playbook. You please incorporate this audible right here into your plays. It's the RPO read flat. It's the good RPO read flat. And so you have that in here, and it's pretty quick to get to it. What I like to do at a motion stick is it kind of, again, I really like either this tight end drag. I wish I could put my tight end on a whip route, but basically this right here, it's a really good little play because watch this tight end route. He just kind of gets into a soft spot of the field, and then you have that backside slant if they're shading underneath. And then another thing that I like to do out of this is, again, these are just like some simple little audibles, but I'll go to the motion stick play and I'll just streak the tight end and flat the slot. And what's nice about this is if they're in cover 2, I got a pretty good chance at one of those 2 guys getting open. And then I also have the backside little slant route. And then the other thing that I'll do out of this is motion, stick, and nod. What I would do is utilize this, speed out basically, or comeback route, but essentially, again, just trying to create horizontal levels, but what's really nice about this is that out route kind of pulls that guy outside, and then the drag kind of pulls the yellows inside, and you see how that return route just gets into a nice soft spot. But these are kind of generally what I like to do. I wouldn't sleep. I think a lot of people sleep on this type of formation right here. You have a nice little wheel route to the running back. It's a flat wheel. So what I like to do would be basically this. And why do we call this? These are just different ways in which we can pretty easily manipulate cover two with quick audibles and quick adjustments, right? So, because I think cover two ultimately is the main way that people have to stop your short corners in this formation. Of course, they could try to switch stick it, but anyway. So, a couple different ways to run it. Like, I really like this setup a lot right here too. Like, I think this is a good play. Another way to do it, if you want to block your running back, you can block your running back and run the play like this. But what I like about it is the short corner is just a very consistent route that they have to cover to on the side. And so it just puts them in a position where they constantly have to worry, and cover to you. And then you can go to something like dagger, which is just a really, really nice play as well. And, again, ultimately, we're just trying to basically pick and choose our spots against cover two, some decent man beaters in here, and in general, just kind of some good plays overall. So, yeah, this is the Bucks playbook. This is also in pretty much the same plays are in Panthers. And so I just wanted to cover this because a lot of people have been running double pass, and wanted to give you kind of my 2 cents on it. I think double pass, as a 1 or 2 a game play is cool. Obviously, if you're playing somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, then yeah, you could probably hit it a lot. But if they do know what they're doing, you need to have passes around it that are actually really good. So something like this, for example, is like a really good passing play because it just spaces the field out well. And you see here, you're able to attack different levels. So anyways, that is the Bucks playbook. Thanks for watching the video. If you guys want to check out any of our full offensive or defensive ebooks for Madden or college football, they're in our school community, and that link is in the description down below.